YouTubes, everyone who's watching this. Pause due to poor connection. Oh, gotta start that over. We're going over AZD curriculums today, so I'll have to do a quick intro one more time. Oh, it's because I'm on the wrong account. There we go. Okay, so that was a clunky intro. Try again.
Mike, please.
Mike, perfect. What's up, Instagram, YouTube's, TikToks? I'm Yogi Chris, captain, historian of IMC Nation, and streaming here from Eden House in the studio, actually, so this is pretty dope. Actually, I guess the camera angle is probably fine, maybe a little up. So we're talking about AZD Advanced curriculums today, and what all they are. I mean, you need a background of AZD, and I find new and interesting ways to talk about the history, because the history is what it is. And so it's like, do I say it every time? I mean, new people join, new people are seeing this. I mean, I was learning from AZD for years before I moved during COVID to San Jose. And then we got a house. And at that time, the trainings had changed to a monthly boot camp structure. So every month there was an advanced training in it. It was amazing. After about a year or so, he started doing lectures like every day for the boot camp. So the boot camp was like final climactic weekend, and then it was like 20 or 30 advanced lectures that led up to that. So some of the camps have like 35 or 40 hours of advanced lecture on that subject. And then other camps were still just like 3 or 4 day boot camps, or even a 1 or 2 day off like lecture series or something. But they were special. They were different than like the daily membership class where you just go to his website, click subscribe, and then you're a member. You never have to show up. You see the recordings. That's like a whole different thing. The advanced trainings was just a whole new level of disclosure about relationships, actually what it takes to date the finest women, have relationships with the finest women for a long time, have multiple relationships. He gave a lot of great value in the daily class, and I still hear to this day from people that are like, oh, why are those recordings gone? I got so much out of it. Bro, if you got so much out of the daily $97 class like 5 years ago, imagine what the advanced trainings were, and imagine what they are now. They're just so far evolved from what those people are seeing, and yet what they saw was so evolved from where your game is at. AZD's game 16 years ago was far beyond pretty much everybody. He had he has a bunch of girlfriends, right? The second girlfriend's been with him 16 years. I don't know that you know any dating or pickup coach in the world that has 2 girlfriends. They'll, skirt around it. They'll use those words. Maybe they're like fucking 3 girls or 4 girls, like whatever. They don't have women that aren't talking to other guys, don't interact with other guys, no social media with other guys, no business with other guys, no face-to-face conversation interactions with other guys. And if you could have that with minimal effort, like just snap your fingers, no more effort than you're already doing, exactly what you would do now with a woman, not another calorie of effort. If you could make it happen where she doesn't interact with other guys, I'm pretty sure most guys would want that. They just don't want that because they're feminists at heart. They've been conditioned to be feminists. And if they have a little bit more balls to them, they just will say, it's too much effort. I don't need that much effort. I trust my woman, blah, 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 blah. If you have the finest woman on earth, or among the finest women on earth, I wonder if you'd still be that trusting. Because it's not about trusting the girl or not. At the highest levels, you just have to see that women are not like men. And her ability to be persuaded by value and make wrong decisions because she doesn't have a long-term outlook on things, you're giving her too much credit, and that's why you're not able to lead her as a man. You got to see that you have more foresight, and then you have to deal with yourself and your own creator if you're really holding a woman back because you're caging her from interacting with other guys, but really you're not the best choice, so you're just trying to... I mean, I don't blame you for doing that, but you'll be punished by the universe. Nobody else needs to come in and punish you. But if you're really the best choice for that woman because you actually care about her, and other guys are going to front their best foot forward, they're going to portray their game, and that the game of man is to deceive the woman into how much value he really has so that she sleeps with him. The game of woman is to deceive the man into how reproductively available she is and how youthful she is. So all of her gimmicks are makeup, remove hair, tits lifted, ass, like all that are youth signals. Big hair, big lips, blushing, that's fecund. That means you can have, you have good blood flow, and, the upper lips represent the lower lips, and not just esoterically, like it's just what it is. When one swells, the other swells. They're related. And so big inflated lips is suggesting I'm highly ovulating. I'm super swollen down in my pussy. It's just, that's not what it is, but that's what the signal is to our reptilian brain. They're signaling youth and reproductive value. And so we're signaling survival. I got this going on, and that going on, and this summer house, and this connection, and this car, and this network, and this going on Saturday. And it's just like status, 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 status. And how much of it is 100% accurate that you're saying? You can make it happen, and that's the thing. But do you make it happen? You're portraying survival value to her, and that's the game, right? So why was I getting into that? AZD curriculums, advanced camps, the game. Oh, 2 girlfriends. Because if you got into, okay, so the guy would probably want a girl to be that committed, exclusive, loyal, and he just doesn't have the right game, the right communication ability, the right understandings, the right finesse, whatever it takes to get the message across. Because AZD is demonstrating with so many girlfriends, whatever it is, 6, 7, 8, 9, I've seen them up to 13, and loyal, committed. It's not that breakups don't happen. Like I was telling somebody the other day, it was like, he was like, is it possible for other people? Is he just like some anomaly that like he can't be replicated or whatever? That's not exactly his words, but that's kind of the idea. And I told him, I was like, it's just physics, man. It's 2 arms, 2 legs, English. I don't think he has a genetic advantage. And he's Persian, but he's like 5'7", like, so it's not, I don't think it's that. I don't believe it's that. I think it's somebody that's just so good that it would be like beyond like Hicks and Gracie fighting like blue belts and black belts and whatever. It's just such a difference in skill level, but it's really the skill. And I was saying, at the highest levels, like if you're just trying to organize those relationships, you're really going to get drained of energy mimicking or pretending to be a certain way to keep the woman submissive, to keep the woman, basically. The whole pickup game is faking it a certain way so you get the girl. You might be able to divide your consciousness enough where you can pick up this girl like that and this girl like that and this girl like a different way. But at some point, if you have long-term relationships, the girls are going to come around each other. And so your two-facedness, now it's not that one girl's interested in yoga, you talk with her about that. The other girl's interested in sales, you talk with her about it because she's a salesperson or whatever. Another person is interested in whatever they're interested in. Mysticism, so you're talking differently. Maybe they're not interested in astrology at all, but this one's hella into astrology. That's different. It's still you just communicating on a different subject versus being a different way for this girl and that girl. And that sounds all well and good, or maybe not well and good, but it sounds like understandable theoretically. But until you're there with two women and you're faced with the fact that I have portrayed myself to be a certain level of, let's say, niceness with this girl, a certain level of badassness with this girl, and then when you come together, the nice girl doesn't like how badass you are, the badass girl doesn't like how nice you're being to the other girl, and you've actually changed your values and your integrity to get the girl. And when you bring together the ecosystem, you see that you've been compromising and you've been a chameleon, which is a predator, just a low-level predator. Preys on like bugs and whatever that are like 1/100th its size. You know what I mean? So that's that game. So when I say AZD, he's had more, I mean, had so many relationships, but that's what I was telling the guy that was like, can we ever catch him? I was like, I mean, it's up to you, but I mean, I told him about messengers, align with the character. Like, you're never going to catch him if you don't align your character. You're just going to be fake. And the messengers is the tech of aligning your character to your core values. But, despite the fact that he has 7 girlfriends or whatever, like, he's gone through 30 breakups. And I was like, I told him, if you think his current relationships are real, deep, meaningful, like valid, they're real relationships, which I do. I've lived with him for 4.5 years. I heard the conversations. I've been to lunch dates. I've seen the relationship. That they're all real and meaningful, that he's also gone through like 30 breakups in the time that I've known him, or more. And it's not that any of those were not meaningful. Some of them were month-long relationships. Some of them were like 7-year-long relationships. Like, it's meaningful. So how much growth do you go through when you have so many relationships, clocking so much time in relationships, let alone simultaneously? It's really hard to measure. Like, it compounds it in a hard to measure way. Like the experience you get just dealing with two girls at the same time that are devoted to you, but there's all kinds of social programming and bullshit you got to get through. Let alone 3 or 4, it's like whatever. But then measure all the heartbreaks and betrayals and all the strategies of that, you know, women go through for the, like there's so much evolution in that and the wisdom that comes from that. So AZD may be learning on the pickup, like the backbone of pickup, but developing a very natural instinct, we call it seductive instinct, for what pickup would call indications of interest, indications of disinterest, jumping through hoops, giving me compliance tests, shit tests, like last minute resistance. These are concepts in the pickup game to understand the courtship, and they're happening all the time. It's just social dynamics. They're nerd terms to define social dynamic phenomena, and they're more or less accurate. I mean, maybe they'll get more accurate, but it's physics terms almost. So it is what it is. But how do you apply that in relationships? Because if you neg your girlfriend of like 7 years, are you going to be able to frame it as banter? Is it just banter? Or are you chopping her off her pedestal so she, you know, doesn't see you as a qualified suitor, that you're not trying to get her? That'd be like the neg in the pickup. But you try to do that in the relationship and you just disqualified yourself as a relationship. So you got to do it in a certain way that's teasing and banter, that's not a neg per se. But if you only have that relationship game, how do you neg when you first meet a girl? You'll tease her in a relationship sense, but not neg in a sense of down with you. So it's the relationship game is different than the pickup game, even though it's the same physics. It's just what's the physics of air travel at 100 miles an hour versus 1,000 miles an hour. Sound barrier happens, the friction, the heat, it's the same physics, but it's like something happens when you're going at that power level. So the curriculums of AZD's trainings, I feel like I'm jumping around. So he's been the best in the world for at least 16 years by evidence. And when we moved in with him and he started doing consistently boot camps, because it wasn't that before Yogi Chris came in, it wasn't monthly boot camps. It was sporadic trainings, and you know, some trainings that happened even before I was around. There was consistent classes, but even when I came on board, the Love Spell program, the daily class was only 4 or 5 days a week at the time. It wasn't every day. When he started doing the monthly boot camps, it was a weekend boot camp. It was no advanced classes before or after. At some point, it became a dual kind of class structure where there was a daily class and right after an advanced class, or daily class morning, evening was advanced class. And it was like that for years. So there's so many, and they were different. Sometimes it would like very much relate to the daily class, but it just kept, it was a never-ending math problem that just kept developing more and more and more and more. And you'd find more and more patterns, but there was like no end to it. It's the evolution of the game. He's reporting on it. And I feel like I'm getting a little scattered. I know that the point is that the curriculums that are on the website, so I guess I'll just kind of jump back to that. There's a training this weekend, by the way, called Primal Attraction. The language, the vocabulary, the tonalities, the ways of putting your concepts together, the way of transferring what you want to say to the girl in a way that grounds her in her nature. That alone, just presence and being able to communicate with the right words, the right meanings, that grounds her in her nature, that alone makes her attracted to you, because nobody else is doing that. And it's very, I don't know how to explain, that it feels good to be natural. It feels good to be in your essence. Everything else you're doing in society and learning and computers and data, and it's a lot of fakeness. It's not really true to your nature. You're doing things that are concepts and ideas and whatever, but you have a physical body that has DNA and its agenda. And when you can bring the girl into that, in your communication with presence, she's in a different dimension with you. Even though she hasn't changed locations, she's now in a different space with you. It's very powerful, and it's not language patterns like say this or say that. It's a way of speaking. He's teaching a way of communicating that will change how you communicate from now until forever. You won't even have to try to learn any of it. You'll just listen. It'll change you. He's a change worker. His syntax, the way he speaks, if you allow yourself to hear it, will change how you process life. and then it'll change how you respond to life. Your game will be forever improved. Primal Attraction this weekend. It's $497 is the early bird, unless you're a Vegas resident, and I haven't decided exactly what that's going to be. But everybody else, early bird $497. It'll be more. Well, actually, I don't know that the recordings will even be available. You got 2 days to watch the recordings. They get deleted. It's a very special kind of training. That's just, you got to be ready to get it this weekend, and then forever be changed, and that's what, or miss out. But you got to recognize the potency of what AZD is doing. His effort output that keeps 7 orbiting bodies of very high value, that a lot of people would come and try to take those orbiting bodies or infiltrate or do something to infect or control. Every girl that's of that value, every person who knows her has a personal interest in using her. Girl or guy, family member or not, wants to use the gorgeous woman. Come to this party. Go to this gathering. Are you going to come to holidays? Just everything. We're girls' night out. Hey, as a friend, let's go get something to eat. You want the girl with you. Most guys are not as smooth and indirect and just calibrated as an IMC guy. We're doing the same thing. Like, we want that value for ourselves. Everybody else does in her world also. So to get her to clip out everybody that would get in between you and her in her life is pretty big. She depends on that. That's her survival. That's why the pretty girl will have a lot of shit just taken care of for her. If she just opened up a couple communication pathways, shit would be taken care of if she's ultra fine. Then to do that for multiple women and keep them in orbit, what's your effort output? Some guys, they could maximize their effort output and never be able to bench 700 pounds. They can try as hard as they want, for as long as they want. A billion years, they'd have to go and train, work out, recover, work out, recover, work out, recover, work out, recover, right nutrition, work out, coach, work out, and still maybe never be able to get it. But if they did, that's what it would take. So you right now, no matter how much you tried, would not be able to bench 700 unless we go superhero level of like adrenaline and some fucking maybe.
Yeah, but still, that puts in a perspective of where AZD is at.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. But then the gorilla, how much effort is it to bench press 700? So exactly. So AZD's output, like, you would exert all the effort that you have from the bottom of your balls to the top of your brain and not be able to get to 10. Whereas someone else who has more game, maybe it's less. Then the better you are at game, 2, 3. It's an efficiency of communication, a skill, so that the martial artist can take on 7 at 1. Everything, anticipating, attacking while defending at the same time. Why is that? That's valid. That's just a level of game and skill. And now, do you want it? I want the finest woman that I can get, as loyal as I can get her, and that means, and I have a reference for what that is. Now, once I get her, one, you should know AZD says the only way, and he's the only one demonstrating multiple relationships that succeed. You got some pimps, you got some sugar daddy maybe, which is essentially the equivalent of Dan Bazillion or whatever. You got some like digital pimps, like that you work with a lot of OnlyFans girls, and they may have multiple girls or whatever. But what is that? That's like, so what was I saying? Aikido, whatever, 7-on-1, deficiency of game.
Handling so many women.
Yeah. Well, in your language, if you're able to communicate, like I said, so the more novice or beginner, what's up, Seth, that gets 2 women, and then the 2 women come around, and you see you've been a different character to both. So if there was a way to communicate that both continued to amplify their attraction to you while they're around you, that would almost like a Venn diagram you could see. Like, there's a way of communicating with her that gets her. There's the big way of communicating with her, which are all possibilities. You could be a nerd, dork, all kinds of unattractive things. In that, there's a way of being that she likes, not you, but her. Then there's this other girl, and then there's the way of communicating with her, and there's some overlap where there's a way of communicating that satisfies both simultaneously. Add a third one, add a fourth one, add a fifth one. That's where you get zeroed in on the character that naturally triggers the value signals in her, the value switches in her.
Just in her, in all of them.
Huh?
Well, you describe this as one girl, this is another girl, and then the 0 point, and then that.
The overlap, and that's like the ways, and it's a very simplified understanding. I mean, people are more complex, organic than that, but there's a way of communicating that would affect multiple girls, and you don't have to cut yourself to get this one or that one. There's, ultimately you'll still have more intimacy one-on-one with a girl. So you deepen the relationship like that. But at the highest levels game, you want, that's what I was saying, that I want the finest woman, this and that. So AZD datum is, and he's the only man doing it, fine woman, cut off all other men, loyal, long-term, that the way to keep a 10 is to show her you get other 10s. That the only way to keep a 10 is to show her she can be replaced. Maybe not her essence, she's special, of course, but your role in my life, what you do for me. Maybe not all of it can all be replaced, but the important parts. Because I also change with a woman. If she was into makeup and lashes, maybe I'd form a makeup and lash business with her. If I didn't have a girl into that, maybe I wouldn't do that. Like I adapt to absorb her and create my life better with it. So she's obviously introducing her uniqueness into my life. That may not be replaced, but the function and role of female energy, beautiful, high value, intelligent, charismatic, whatever I like, femininity in my life and what I do with that to nurture some creation, the basics of it, that can be replaced. Of a girl of equal value or more. And that's the only way to keep the 10. And then now I would invite the world, show me otherwise. Any examples, I'm open to it. Open to it whenever, hopefully. I need a bigger audience so I can challenge more people. Because if you knew that was a guy that outputting the exact same amount of energy that you output for one girl, keeps 7 girls in orbit, same energy, just different communication. Because the Venn diagram analogy, it's been GPS located what the character qualities need to be. Now when you know exactly what needs to be portrayed, now get artistic about it. Now I'm the Joker, now I'm this, now I'm that. So he's transitioned through many, many characters over 150 boot camps over the last 6 years. Like I said, monthly boot camps, plus some months were multiple camps. So I've organized those into curriculums on the website, and it's really dope. I just added 3 of the what I call hyper camps. They were like these super advanced camps. I am Zapar, Alpha's Gaze, and 555. And these are just like the dopest language patterns when it comes to influence. Putting your words together in a way that influences the other person's mind, triggers imagination, guides it into ways that you have certain images that could arouse you, could excite you, could depress you, could anger you, it's just your own imagination that your emotions come from that. If you had no imagination, you probably wouldn't have any emotions. What would you have? You'd have reactions to shit, like a dog, you poke it, but then you let it go. Maybe look at them. But even the dog is developing an imagination being around people. If you purely had no imagination, would you have emotions?
Probably. They develop from imagination.
Probably. I've seen or heard of like cows mourning for days over their dead offspring, elephants mourning over dead. Like, is there imagination there? How are they? Because there's memory. How do they? Or is it just purely DNA? Is there memories in our DNA? Is that where you get past life and the epigenetics of your DNA has changed over the life experiences or ancestral karma? Let's say, like, there's so much that we don't know. But I think without imagination, I don't think there'd be emotions. I think they come together. And if you had total control of your imagination, you'd have total control of your emotions. And I don't know that that's even desirable. Maybe I want to feel things. I want to see the mechanics of how my feelings affect my mind for more self-awareness. But I don't know. I mean, that's a mastery that we're going towards. But imagination is where a person feels. And when they feel, they make decisions. So influence is leading imagination. So the camp this weekend, Primal Attraction, is the imagination that will make the woman attracted to you. And it's different than memorizing some story or some joke or something, some soundbite to say. It's a way of conveying yourself. And I'm a student also, so if I could demonstrate it, I would, but I'm going to be at the class. I just have heard glimpses of it, and I get the idea of it. I've interacted with them. The thing about it is it's like you have to hear some things multiple times to be able to use it. So like I've heard it, I've felt it, I've experienced it, but I'm not familiar enough with it to demonstrate it very well. I've glimpsed demonstrating it too. AZD is pointed out, oh, when he did this or when he did that. Like I gave the analogy of a relationship is like a planet orbiting the sun. You're the sun. But the pickup is like the planet orbiting really fast. It's spinning on its own orbit, spinning on its own axis. So the spin is like the speed of a pickup, and there's day and night and a lot of rapid interactions. But the relationship is this longer term cycle that you gotta, you could slingshot a planet out of orbit if it gets too close to the sun. It could fall into the sun and melt and just die. It could get close and then whip out of orbit because you got too close too fast with your relationship, and then you need a break from each other, and then you just get distant. And when you get distant, then you find someone else that, like that happens. Couples get together too much. That's when you move in, like after you met a person for a week, and then you get tired of the person. Orbit got too close. Because you're beyond the pickup. The pickup is no longer that planet spinning on its axis. So, these curriculums, man, I thought let's see, who's still on here? Okay. Do you guys have any questions or thoughts? Maybe I'm speaking too fast. Take a little smoke break. What do you guys think? I don't care. We can take a little moment of silence. Anybody watching the recordings at this point can bear with a moment of silence. Okay, Simba, at some point maybe you might sell IMC. I got a call list of I got to look at it, but it's probably definitely over 100 numbers of guys that dropped off the newsletter. What are quiz time? And it's a trick quiz. But if you get it, $10 bonus. Yeah. Well, it's like tipping the bouncer. Not quite low enough to be degrading, but not too much that I'm like, man, it's not worth $20. So $10. 8 pillars. What are they?
We have game, we have chosen.
Game, chosen. These are 2 pillars. Game is a pillar of game teachings from AZD. We just added 2 new trainings on it, so it's 11 trainings of the 150 advanced trainings. It's 11 best related to game, which is picking up a woman, seducing a woman, making her your girlfriend. Oh, you also said chosen. So chosen, that's a whole pillar of spirituality, demons, angels, righteousness, good and evil, God, all that stuff. Chosen, essential for relationships. The thing about it is all his pillars are game. It's just, it's not so obvious. Some are like directly game, how to interact with women. Others is all this other stuff. Like you got to understand energies to do relationships. So that's chosen. And then communication, which is what it is, influence, language, communication. Like this weekend's training, primal attraction, would 50% align with communication pillar. And then it would fit in another pillar also. Okay, what are the other 5?
All right, we got Manu Tech.
Manu's Tech, AZD's acting coach. A very small, short pillar, only 2 pieces of content with it. But so different than everything else he teaches, and so essential, it's its own pillar. It's like the plutonium of the elemental chart. Manu's Tech. Okay, 4 more.
All right, so we got G-Code.
G-Code. That was a surprise. So that's one of the lesser pillars. It'd be like a lowercase p. But it's essential. It's the tribal code. How to understand being in a group dynamic, how to carry group energy in game, in relationships, that you are accountable to something more than just you as a lone wolf. G-Code. I define these pillars, not AZD. They're just my creation. Okay, 3 more. Beast, the Beast process. That's this weekend's camp would 50% fit in that one also, I think. But I don't know until it's done. So the Beast process is AZD's personal creation. All of them are his innovations and everything, but the Beast process is like his gift to humanity. It's like, I've given you the Beast process, which, is his daily disciplines and how that develops your imagination and mindset to be a solid man. Beast process. 2 more. Uh-oh. Going once. Going twice. All right. One of them is the quantum leap camps. There's camps dedicated to just the quantum leaps, and that I would also define that as a lesser pillar, but it's on the website. It's one of the 8. I expected you to guess it. So why it's lesser is not because it's lesser trainings. It's just because it's not really it's not really its own subject. It's its own format of teaching, which is the Quantum Leap stories. So those camps are very potent. Stoic, no, that's not a pillar. That would be part of Beast Process. But the Quantum Leaps is like a whole modality of teaching and learning that is its own thing, and it had to be grouped together. Let's see.
What about mystery method?
That's part of game.
So there's one left.
There's one left, and there's a secret one I was going to give you if you got all 8. What's the secret one?
Messengers.
Nah. Messengers is the pinnacle of all of it. They all come together at a pyramid at top. That would be in the communication, language, and influence pillar. And you can see, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can see why it fits in that. Hypnosis and language patterns fits in the communication pillar. Messengers is the pinnacle of the communication pillar, but at the highest level of communication, you want game, you want creativity, that's Manu. You're going to be a beast, a solid man, it's the beast process. Like, it's all of them. Okay, so the 8th one is not on the website yet, but it's on the document. It's the business pillar.
Right.
Yep, and then the 9th secret pillar is Panjo, the fighting style. What I've always said was one of the 6 main pillars, but it's so hard to come by. We only trained with him about 6 months in San Jose. And we did a couple of classes when we moved to San Jose, but before we got the first house in 2020. He had a beast center, he had some open classes, we went. But then everything closed down, COVID, this and that, whatever. So later we had a fight center, and we're looking to open one here. He says he found a space, so I stopped looking. But if that opens up, then that'll be like a whole, you'll see. It's different. And it's different than any fighting you'd expect, just like everything he teaches, it's different. Like his communication, you can go to any communications class, any university, any online digital program, because they're not going to be a badass like AZD, and they're not going to be on genetic code influencing women like AZD, and the proof is in the pudding. The fact that you can influence a girl's DNA to overcome that she has other money over there, or she has a relationship over there, or whatever, she doesn't like your character, she doesn't like white guys, tattooed guys, whatever, like that she can overcome that and you can influence her to do that is genetic influence. And any communications teacher that can't teach you that, what good is their communication? You just cut out 50% of like everything I'm doing.
Yeah.
Just like a game coach who can't teach you business or family relations is like a sliver of communication. Pickup is a sliver of communication, but it's probably the weakest link for all men, which is saying a lot because men are weak in pretty much every link of communication, except for maybe their specialty of whatever their occupation is. Like I'm good at communicating about statistics or about auto mechanic stuff. Like you should be, or you're really not valuable to anything. So those are the pillars, those are the curriculums, they're on the website. There's very little left to put on the website to really just give you the full, complete picture of everything AZD offers right now. The last thing is the messengers. And that will be a landing page coming soon. So I invite everybody, get on the newsletter, imcbase1.com. It's free, has a lot of free value. Just every email you get has a predetermined piece of content that teaches you game from AZD content. And you just get so much of that. You'll know by the end of the newsletter sequence, like 65 emails or something. You'll know if you want to learn from AZD. And you know, all the resources are in the emails to click and find out what you can learn, what you can buy to learn from him. But get the free value while it's there. At some point, I may end the newsletter and you won't get emails. I'll do something different, Discord or something. Okay, anything else?
There's a lot of information, but I don't have any questions.
Yeah.
Maybe another quiz.
Another quiz?
Yeah.
What are the 3 stages of the mystery method? Not Zay.
Okay, so first is attraction, comfort, and selection.
Okay, what are the 3 phases of attraction, Armando?
A1, A2, and A3.
And what is A1, A2, and A3? Anybody?
That's the opener. The second one is
A1 is open the conversation. A2 is neg DHV, or create interest in the woman, female to male interest. A3 is qualify, which is male to female interest. So you got to open the conversation, hook it where she doesn't want to leave, get her interested in you, then be interested in her for some reason other than sex, and that's attraction. Comfort's a little trickier. What are the three phases of comfort? C1, C2, C3, what are they?
I know that going places to places is one thing.
Bouncing.
No, connection is one of them.
Connection. I would consider, and AZD may correct me, I would consider C3 as heavy petting or foreplay. It's getting to that level of sexuality where,
I have it here.
yeah,
Okay, C1 is conversation,
yeah.
C2 is connection, and C3 is intimacy. So,
Connection, I would say bouncing. You connect by bouncing, 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 keeping the conversation going. That may be day 2, that may be the same night. So bouncing is C1. Keep the conversation going is duh. You're not gonna fuck her if you don't keep the conversation going. So obviously conversate. I think that's redundant to say C1 is conversation. I think it's bouncing. C2, connection. C3, intimacy. Okay, so what's S1? Not Zay. Or Zay, if you haven't read it yet, you need to know it.
S1D.
S3 is sex. Last minute resistance. She always resists at some point. Last minute resistance might happen in attraction, but last minute resistance before sex, what's S1? Okay, but C3 was intimacy. So what's S1?
There's levels of intimacy.
Okay, so you could say it's more intimacy if that's your answer.
Isn't it bedroom? Like going to
Yes.
the bedroom?
It's S1 is C3 in the seduction location. It's C3 in the place where you'll have sex.
That makes sense.
How would you overcome last minute resistance?
What is the resistance that she gives? I mean, in general, it's just assuring her. It's somehow she needs to be more certain that she's not diminishing her value getting with you, and that she's going to be safe and protected afterwards. You know, so if you're just if she's drunk and you have no intention of being with her afterwards, she may have resistance. You know, if you don't have a condom and she's just meeting you, she may have resistance. You know, because now if you're like, no, I'm going to marry you, I'm going to take care of the kid, whatever, that's how you'd overcome that last minute resistance in a really cheesy way. I wouldn't fuck without a condom, so I don't even know how I'd overcome that. I wouldn't want to. So, because you got to overcome in me if you have a kid. Are you going to abort it or like what? Like, and I don't want to go through that anyway. So, okay, so that's quiz. Oh, I don't know what other quizzes. Yeah, they're all good. Let's see. Okay, how much money did AZD's top producing girlfriend make in 1 week last week, tattooing only women? Okay, one vote is 2,500. One vote is 8,000. One vote is 3,000. Okay, no, he reported it. His top producing girl out of the 3 girls that he has that are doing that business, 3 of his girlfriends are tattooing only women. They only interact with women. Any men that try to get, they block, and then only women come into the tattoo shop. It's a very basic tattoo shop. It doesn't need to be fancy, but they charge good prices, and they also never ever apprenticed with any tattoo expert. They just practiced a few tattoos on him. He said, go for it, and they started doing it. They've been at it for about 4 or 5 or maybe 6 months. Top producing girl made 10K last week. Second producing girl, I believe, made 9K. Yeah. Yeah. Working with only women. Talk about unplugging a woman from the matrix. Are you going to unplug the woman and just pay for everything for her? Or are you going to give her a game to play that's still righteous with you? So, quiz time. Okay. Everybody filled that one.
Well, not exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
He was close.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we were playing hand grenades.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, in hand grenades, if you get close, it counts.
Rounded down.
It's not even rounded down. What are you talking about?
He said 8,000.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. You don't round from 10 to 8 in any math. List 5 indicators of interest. List? You want me to get my dry erase board and write them down? Would you like me to recite them in opera-style voice? It's like ChatGPT request. Recite for me in death metal Serbian the 5 attraction switches as if I were a 5-year-old duck.
How would you do that?
That's why we need AI. AI is super intelligent. It can figure it out. I don't know, 5 indicators of interest. What are indicators of interest? When a woman is interested in you and she can't even help it. So it's unconscious, Proximity. She gets herself close to you. That's usually before you even open the conversation.
She adjusts her hair.
She adjusts her hair.
She pays attention.
She what?
She pays attention.
She pays attention.
So she's
Could
very
be.
attentive.
Okay, if she's very attentive, yeah.
Just looking at you.
Okay, so that's interesting. I have a lot of experience in like really academia, but also that bridges with business at the levels that we were at. And there are women, pretty, that can be very interested in what you're saying about business, but they have no attraction for you. There's not an indication of interest, but they're very attentive to what you're saying. They're students. Now, if with game, you can turn that into something because that's real value. You have real value that she's survival value. But there's a difference between just like being attentive and like what is there? What's the indication of interest? Maybe eyes dilating, itches, legs crossing towards you.
She could be, this is more advanced than that.
Oh, more advanced.
She could be looking down somewhere else, not pretending not to look at you, but you can feel, you can sense that she was aware of you. Like if you look at everybody else in the crowd, they're not aware of you. You feel that. But when you see
You just know that she's in love with you because she's avoiding your eyes.
just like aware, like
She wants me, dude. I can tell she wants me.
Armando, do you mean like when you make eye contact that she looks down?
wouldn't be it'd be in the borderline of indicators of interest and just someone just regular interest. Or just looking.
I wouldn't call it an IOI. It might be shyness or timidness or intimidated or, it's not bad, but I wouldn't call it an IOI.
What about like uptone? Her speaking uptone is soft.
And
Like,
softly?
her voice changes.
Yeah. I mean, if it makes her more feminine and she's more into you, like the sound of the voice is like more pleasant, then yeah, I could say that. That's also adjusting the hair. She's making herself more feminine. Look how big my hair is. She's adjusting her clothing. Look at my body. Like anytime she adjusts herself for you to like her more, IOI. So if she adjusts her voice, adjusts her lips, adjusts her perfume, IOI, She goes to the bathroom and sharpens herself up, comes back out. Huge IOI, Obviously touch. Huh?
Like laughter.
Laughter I would call an emotional spike, but I wouldn't call it an IOI.
If she's laughing at everything you say.
Then you guys are really vibing at a really high level. And if she's laughing at everything you say, it's a really good indication, but I wouldn't call it indication of interest. A girl could laugh all day at a comedian also. It doesn't mean she's interested in him, but it could be so funny. So she's interested, but not in this almost like the business way. It's not a sexual, it's not the game like we're doing. You could still use that, and the comedian should and would. But with better game, can you make her laugh in a way that she's attracted to you? Those indications of interest that she's attracted, touch, asking, banter, stop, that kind of stuff. Cool.
It's interesting because like on the strip sometimes, and then it'd be like a girl with her guy, but then like When I walk past them, just take flicks of hair and shit. Or just catch those little indicators.
Right, and it's not conscious. I don't think in her mind, most of the time, she's not thinking, I'm going to be disloyal and send a signal to this competitive guy that's walking the other direction that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
But the body reacts.
Yeah.
So you see the video AZD is showing with that girl, I won't name her, but if you remember, it's the one I said I recorded that one. It might have been a messenger's talk, actually, so you guys might not have seen it.
Yeah, that was
It was a girl in San Jose, and bro, for like 20 seconds. She's like, bro, how many times you get? It's like you adjust the hair in front, then you adjust it behind, then this one in front, and then behind. How much? Like, is it behind or in front? What do you want, bitch? Oh, it's because her body is reacting to what he's doing and saying. Why? It's just everything's IOI. Watch, you say one dumb thing, IOD, right away. And the prettier the girl and the crazier the partier the girl, the more ruthless and merciless she is about that. She don't care. She's just about her feelings. She's not thinking about it and politeness and things like that. So, man, I really didn't want to like teach game. I don't feel like I'm qualified to teach game, honestly. I'm just more of like a scholar of it, and I'm fascinated by it, and I just, you know, I love practicing. We have a blessed lifestyle here in Las Vegas, and everybody should visit. And that's what we do. I mean, we have a big house that you come and visit, you stay here, you go out with us every time we go out with AZD, and it's a whole other worldly experience. I mean, it's being part of a secret society that knows how to coordinate with each other. It's like a hive mind, and we know how to dress sharp and smell good and walk in a way that just triggers a high value group, and people start telling themselves stories. Like we go to the same venue so much, and we start hearing the stories of what the rumors are, what the girls say about us behind our back, and vampires and Satanists and mobsters and cartel and porn company. And we've heard all of those things multiple times. And that's amazing. That's acting. That's game. Because you're showing up and the images are being triggered in the person's mind, and they think that so much that they spread a rumor not even knowing the truth. That's influence. You might be surprised at what kind of female attention and affection you get if she thinks that you're dangerous like that. And so that's why the guys that are around AZD, you got to pay to be around, because he creates that. We wouldn't have that without him. And so there's a level of experience you get to have with the top girls in the hardest city in the world because of being under his umbrella effect of the story that he's with certainty stepped into and created, and through each communication aligned or repelled people to collaborate in that image of us. And then the team, we contribute what we contribute to it. But any one of us subtract versus subtract him, and it's just, you know, we're here to learn from the world's greatest player who's making relationships happen through what are the two keys that AZD taught when I first met him that were the most important two keys in all of existence to do what he does.
Imagination and communication.
Bingo. Imagination and communication are the keys. Communication's a skill that you need to be sensitive. You got to have sensitive antenna, but it's still a skill on the outside. There's inner communication, but then what are you going to do about it? But then imagination could also be a skill, but imagination is divine, and it's been hijacked by the mass control systems for generations and centuries and millennia and probably forever. So your imagination is on railroad tracks for what they want you to worry about, think about, contemplate. Don't contemplate off the tracks thinking. And it's rough and rugged out there. If you don't go by the system, then you might have to step on some rocks barefoot, and it's uncomfortable. Whereas if you walk on the sidewalk, it's comfortable, but man, how boring is that? What are you going to see? An ant, a plant crawling out of a crack? Like, but step off the path and everything is dynamic. But now you got to be a survivor, because there's no, you know, street sweeper that's going to come and clean up after you. So that's Primal Attraction. This weekend, $497. Go to imcbase1.com. The newsletter, it's free, imcbase1.com. All the trainings, curriculums, descriptions, a couple free ebooks there that tell the story of IMC and my trainings with AZD and how it evolved into being. It's only 10 pages, free ebook imcbase1.com. Any final questions or comments? All right. Until next time.